If you're a heat and air machine technician or even a salesperson, what happens if the people you work with or work for are dumb? This is a fantastic question. I'm Scott Sylvan Bell, coming to you live for HVAC Technician Sales Secrets on a perfect day to talk about sales and business and a fantastic day to talk about you. All right, cat's out of the bag, right? I asked a tough question up front. What happens if you work with dumb people or work for dumb people? It's going to be unpleasant. So let's start with the beginning and then work our way to the end. Beginning is, what happens when you work for a dumb business owner? Well, first and foremost, there's a lot of very smart business owners, and they have a good reason for the reason. They have a good reason for the reason. There's things that they want to have done in a very specific way, and sometimes you're just not going to get along with them, and they're not going to make sense. And, you know, some of those reasons may be legal, some of them may be for insurance, some of them may be out of taboo, weird, you know, hey, I don't like it when this happens. Like, I knew of a guy that if your dash had any type of clutter on it when you came in for a meeting, he would fire you, right? That was like 15 years ago. And so, like, sometimes, like, you look at it and you're like, that's dumb. Well, if there's a good reason behind it, maybe it's not so dumb. So let's get that out of the way. Sometimes you work for people who have no logistical idea. They may send you all over the place because your time to them is free, right? And they want to do things the way that they want to do things. And so, like, you definitely have opportunities. You can look around and you can go, well, does this suit my needs? Is it a good company? Can I put up with it? And if you answer no to all three of those, then it's time for you to look for a new role. Then it's time for you to look for a new position. Then it's time for you to just move on and get on with your life instead of getting caught up in a bunch of drama saying, I work for somebody that's dumb. Now, I will promise you this. The more complicated a place is to work, the less money you're going to make. Okay, just think about that. You got a ton of paperwork you got to turn in. You've got all these hoops that you got to jump through. You've got all these people that you got to meet. You got all these people that you got to talk to. And at the end of the day, overly complicated processes lead to you losing sales and you thinking, hey, if I have to do all this, I'm probably going to lose this deal. Like, I've been there before. I've done that. I could think of a company that I worked for that was so complicated. Like, if you turned a job in, there was probably 10 things wrong with it. And every department was fighting against each other. It was an absolute nightmare. One of the worst summers I've ever had in the industry worked for this one company because it was overly complicated. So when you say, hey, sometimes owners are dumb, they may not realize that they've created a bunch of problems for themselves and created a bunch of issues. And simmer down. Like, you know what? My job is to share with you what the problems are in the industry. It's not my job to hide stuff. It's just the truth. This right here is why you should go to HVACTechSecrets.com. I'll give you the goods. Not in the Facebook group, not the YouTube channel, which means you go to a browser, type that in, drop in your name, your email address, probably your phone number. I'll give you some cool stuff. Anyway, so we got the owners out of the way. Sometimes the employees that you work with or the people that you work with are dumb. And especially like at the beginning of COVID, it was really tough to find people. And so, like, I would get phone calls from tech friends and sales friends, and they were like, Scott, I work for an XYZ company. Oh my goodness. OMG. Scott, I work for 123 company. OMG. OM giant G. Like this is insane. And so not everybody's got the skills, the talents, and the capabilities that you do. There's going to be a time where you look around and you're like, what? What am I doing here? What am I doing here? Or this is dumb. This is stupid. And I don't necessarily know that this is what I want to do. And sometimes the people you work with are dumb just for the sake of being dumb. Sometimes that they were hired to be there to fill a role. Sometimes they were hired because it's nepotism, they're relatives. In some cases, it's because there's activities going on with that employee after hours. Leave it to your imagination. And be aware that it creates some challenges. It makes your job more complicated and difficult. But last thing, bonus, sometimes that dumb person is you. Sometimes you make mistakes, just like sometimes I make mistakes. I make mistakes on average 4 times a day, so there's probably a chance that I'm going to screw something up. So sometimes remember that you're pointing your finger and saying, hey, all these people out here are dumb, but there's like 3 other ones pointing back at you. You could be making mistakes too. You could have a skewed vision and view of what's going on based upon other places that you work and other things that you've done. Just remember, there's always one side of the rainbow. There is also another. It could also be you. You got one of 3 things to do from here. Just one of 3. Find the subscribe button, click on it, and every time I send out a video, you will get an update. 2, hit follow. 3, share this video with a friend. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.